Greetings, Pool Player Nation. Breaking news today from the Billiards Congress of America regarding this year's voting and induction for the Hall of Fame. Let's go to our industry insider, Mike Pinoza, who's got the story for us. Mike, what can you tell us?
This is always one of the best days of the year when the Billiard Congress of America announces the inductee for that year's Hall of Fame. And this morning they announced that 46-year-old Dutch player Niels Feijen will be the inductee into this year's Billiard Congress of America Hall of Fame. Niels becomes the 80th member of the Hall of Fame, one of the great European players for many, many years, very deserving. I know there's a lot of players, a lot of fans out there happy about this election because Niels is a very, very popular player.
Now, Mike, I think a lot of folks will recognize Neil from his success in a number of Mosconi Cup tournaments. What can you tell us as far as Neil's career resume?
Well, his career, you touched on the Mosconi Cup. He's played for Team Europe on the Mosconi Cup 14 times, and he was the MVP 4 times. 3 years in a row, he was MVP. But on top of that, he won his first world title in 2008 when he won the World Straight Pool Championship. And then 2014, he won the World 9-Ball Championship, which is probably his biggest accomplishment. He's also won the Derby City 9-Ball Classic. He's many, many, many times European champion in straight pool particularly, but also in 9-ball and 8-ball. Just longevity career-wise, just a great career for Niels Feijen.
Yeah, and you had a chance to catch up with Niels to kind of announce the news, and curious what he had to say.
Yeah, well, we got a chance to catch up with him this morning, actually, right after the news broke from the Billiard Congress of America. So let's check out what he had to say. All right, we're here with the man of the hour, new Billiard Congress of America Hall of Famer Niels Feijen. Congratulations, Niels.
Thanks a lot, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing good. So, great career, obviously. A couple world championships, Mosconi Cup appearances, numerous European championships, Derby City. Great credentials, obviously. It's a tough Hall of Fame to get into. You've been waiting a couple of years for this, right?
Yeah. We spoke the other day. You shared the news with me, of course, and I was elated. Also, yeah, it's weird. Like you think about it. Usually during the summer, that's when the announcement is made, and then you think, oh, obviously it wasn't me this year, but of course I got young kids, so life continues very fast. So I don't give it much afterwards. But yeah, you start thinking like, is it going to be my turn this year? I heard it was pretty close last year. Could it be this year? Stuff like that. So it was very cool when you gave me the call, for sure.
So tell me, at what point in your career did you start thinking? Did the Hall of Fame start coming into your mind?
That's a tough question. I think obviously when you pass 40, because the demands are that you have to be past 40 years of age and you have to have won a major title. Is that correct? The world title
Correct.
or US?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I won the world title in 2014, the 9-ball. I won the straight pool before in 07, I believe. So
I think 08.
In 08, okay. So in 14, I wasn't 40 yet. I think I started talking or thinking about it when I started having some chats with the encyclopedia man himself, Darren Appleton. He brought it every year. He said, yeah, it's got to be this year or next year, or this guy's in, and he's probably going to get in. And then I started giving it a little more thought. And when I heard from him that it was super close last year between me and Dennis, that's when I thought I should have a chance this year.
Yeah.
For the last 2 years, I gave it a bit more thought.
Yeah. So tell me what it means to you. When it does sink in, from a perspective standpoint, what does being in the Hall of Fame signify to Niels Feijen?
I think when I gave it some thought, it was, you gave me the call and I was like, wow. And I think when it sank in, I think the biggest thing that stood out for me was that you're part of this elite group. And for me, it's not like, oh, I'm part of the diamond group. For me, it's like I'm part of the group of the guys that I always looked up to, like my youth heroes, like Efren and Boosty and Earl, and in Europe, Oliver, and of course Ralph was a champion. And to be part of that group now, myself, that's a really a great feeling because. Yeah, we spoke about it. A lot of guys don't ever get to the semifinals or the finals in their whole career of a world championship. So to win two and then to carry on and get into the Hall of Fame, that's a very special club. I miss Darren Appleton in that group, of course, my man. He's won 25,000 WPA titles. So, he's in there. So it's nice to be part of that group. That's the main thing for me that sticks. It's not a sticker on my back or a pad or you deserve this or whatever. It's for me, it's that feeling.
Yeah, it's being in a certain club, like a special club with the greatest players who've ever played the game, and you're kind of at that level. That's got to be an amazing feeling. So Niels, one of the things that comes to mind when I think of you and your career well, there's actually two things. One is your work ethic. I remember talking to Johan years ago and him talking about how, Niels wasn't the most natural talent in the world. He had to work at his game and nobody worked harder than Niels. That and also your physical training. You would always, the physical part of your game, being in good shape was very important to you from a playing standpoint and from a mental standpoint, I think. And I think both of those really contributed to your longevity. Do you kind of, is that the way you kind of look at it?
Yeah, I think the only thing you miss in that picture is the mental side of it. I think, yes, the physical part, but I've been doing that since I was 12 years old. I've always done a lot of sports. Basketball, competitive swimming, competitive cycling. Then I switched to snooker, then to pool, but I've always had a need for working out, either fitness, swimming, running, biking, stuff like that. I need that to get rid of some energy. Pool's a very static game. I'm a very energetic guy, so I need to balance it out. Otherwise I freak out. But yeah, from the work ethical side, I think two of my strengths are like perseverance and discipline, and then zest. That's a good third. So yeah, I wasn't always perhaps the most intuitive or this or that, but I've always had really easy work ethics that never came hard to me, like doing drills. I love doing drills. I love to work out. I never had any problem with getting up early and doing the work, like meditating, then practicing, then going to the gym. Like all that routine was just a regular part of my day, where other people might really struggle with that kind of discipline, but they're better on other sides of their game, like intuition or you name it. So everybody has their signature strengths, and those really came easy to me. So yeah, that's I think if I look back and on 25 years, I started meditating in the year 2000. I've always worked out. I always loved practicing. I always loved to spar. That's I think the one thing I really hated the most was playing tournaments. I play one match a day and that's it. I loved at the Derby, for example, where you get in that mode where you're playing 6-8 matches a day, 10 hours. That was like a playground, like kindergarten. That's why we start playing the game, to play and not to sit and wait in the hotel room. I hope that answers the question.
No, perfect. So you still have a lot of game left in you. You still posting some high finishes and a lot of these big events. Is there another title in Niels Fagion's game?
That's still the goal, Mike. I still want to win another major, especially now with Matchroom pumping out all these big tournaments. I feel I'm, as a player, better than when I won the world title in 2014. I feel I'm more fit than in my 20s and 30s. So why not? You know, the only tough part of it is I have a great family at home, so I don't want and I can't like go to the States for 4 to 6 weeks in a row, for
Yeah,
example, and really hit it hard. I have to really pick my blocks of tournaments and try to get in competitive stroke and then carry that on to a major. That's the hard part because there's more and more tournaments. So what I miss sometimes is getting into a groove during a big tournament because I miss that continuous competitive action that you get from going from tournament to tournament.
right.
But that for the next block of events like the US Open, I play Jason's tournament right before. That's going to be a good one. Before the European Open, I'm going to play a tournament in near Sarajevo, you know, to get me geared up for that big one.
Right.
And that's hopefully going to help. Because, like, yeah, I got third at the Masters. I just lost Hill Takachi in semis. I got fifth at the Worlds. So there's still a lot left, but it's up to me to carry it on and to take that final step.
Yeah. Well, there is plenty left for you, it seems like. But to this point in your career, what would you say was your biggest moment? The moment that meant the most to you?
Definitely the world title in 2014 because I lost two World 8-Ball finals in the previous years back to back, and that hurt so much, Mike.
I'll bet.
I mean, I lost 12-11 or 13-12 to Carl Boyes. And then the year after, I got to the finals again, and Dennis came out of the gate with a 5-pack, and that was just a hair too much pressure to get it back to even, and he won like 10-4.
Yeah.
So it's like, Mamma mia, am I ever gonna get another chance? So it was a big monkey on my back, and then there was some heat from the side of Billiard Digest why I hadn't won enough majors. So that
I was wondering whether you were going to remember that and bring that up. Well, if it drove you to victory, then I'm happy.
it did. It gave me an extra spark, because I had won big tournaments. I had won a major world title, but it wasn't the World 9-Ball or the US
Right.
Open. So I had unfinished business, and winning that match against Albin, that was in 2014, I think probably the biggest match of my life. Because if I would have lost that match, that would have been unbelievable. 3 world finals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the most beautiful part of that was that it got so much pressure off my back that I won another 4 or 5 tournaments right after in a row in Europe, like back to back, week in, week out, 5 in a row. So that's how much it meant to me. It was it unleashed me in that sense. So it was.
Yeah, no, that seems to happen to players when they can't, when they break through a barrier, whether it's their first win or their first world title, that the pressure's off and they just freewheel for a while. Last question: what's it going to feel like? Do you imagine when you stand on the stage and they hand you a plaque and put the green jacket on you?
I think it's going to be nerve-wracking. I think it's going to be a great moment. I want to be there with my family. The kids are still young. The girls, they're 12 and 8. They will be 13 and 8 at that time. And, they haven't been to many major tournaments. They start getting a grasp of what it is that I do and what it means and all the practice and the hard work and the travel. But then they get to see a whole room, and I have to stand there and give a speech. And maybe there's going to be some footage, I don't know, or something cool. It's going to be a nice moment for my family and not just for me. So I think it's going to be really cool for the girls. It's going to be great to see my colleagues there. It's you battle it out for years, and you need them to push you to another level. So that's, I'm getting close to that end phase of my career. It might be another year, it might be 3 more years, depending how hungry I am. So I'm not delusional. I'm at the end stretch. I want to try and make the most of it, and it's gonna be a great moment for sure.
Yeah, no, it will be a great moment, and I think it'll be, the kids will be amazed to see, a room full of people standing and applauding their father. I think that would be a really cool family moment, and you've certainly earned it and deserve it. And Niels, congratulations again, and we look forward to seeing you in November in Norfolk.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Appreciate
Mike, great interview there with Niels. Really, again, class act, great looking guy. Hard to
Yeah.
believe he's talking about potentially the end of his career. He looks like he's ready to run a
Uh,
triathlon or something. So
he just got off a hour and a half bike ride this morning, and he stays in great shape, and there's no doubt that that played a big role in his longevity. And before, one thing that I forgot to mention was he also won the World Pool Masters 2 times. So yeah, he's got some pretty hefty credentials.
an outstanding career for Niels, and of course, congratulations to him. Mike, real quick, I'm curious, what kind of details can you give us as far as, I mean, he's been voted in, but when will the induction happen? Where is that taking place? Is that something open to the public?
Yeah, it's definitely open to the public. It takes place in November, the first Friday in November. I believe it's November 3rd at the Sheraton Norfolk Waterside Hotel in Norfolk, Virginia. So the Hall of Fame banquet takes place during the International Open, big professional international tournament in Norfolk. That's great. And they allot an amount of time on Friday evening for us to do the Hall of Fame banquet. I always refer to it as, the best night of the year in pool, because it's a celebration of pool. All the top players are there. Former, the living Hall of Famers, there are a number of them that usually show up. So it's a really exciting, fun night where everybody just celebrates pool and the heroes that we have in the game.
Yeah, it'll no doubt be a very special evening for Niels and his family. A couple
Yeah.
of months to prepare for that induction speech that he mentioned there in his
Yeah.
interview. So, Mike, last question for you. Been a lot of international flavor the last few years going into the Hall of Fame. I'm curious, when are we going to see our next American inductee?
Well, I think you can pretty much book your tickets for next year to 2024. Captain America Shane Van Boening, who turned 40 this year, becomes eligible next year. And there's little doubt that he will be a first ballot runaway, every vote on earth electee. So if you're looking for an American, next year will be the year.
All right, folks, so that you had it there first from Mike, a prediction on,
A
next
lot of
year's
pressure.
Hall of Fame induction. So, folks, appreciate you joining in. Mike, thanks for the story. Great job with the interview with Niels. And again,
Thanks.
folks, thanks for tuning in to this breaking news segment of Billiards Digest Live.